guys, welcome back to my channel. Designer BreeKel here with a new video for you. In this video, I am going to be designing special fun pieces for journalists Andrea Urban and Emily Tencer. So I'm designing jumpsuits for them, and I just wanted to make this video for anyone who is maybe self-teaching themselves, or they want to get into design, or they're just curious on what is the process when you are designing a look, like really any piece. So from the sketch, from the idea on paper to illustration to a muslin fit to changing up the patterns to the final garment. So come with me. I'm going to go ahead and show you the process on doing that. I also wanted to mention for any of those who are trying to get into fashion, I am making a Patreon. I have received my degree in fashion design and in technical apparel. So I've been working on a Patreon for those who are maybe out of reach, out of school, or you're just self-teaching yourself. I'll have the link down below, and I will be teaching you techniques that I have learned in school and that I have taught myself. So this is going to be an affordable offer for you guys, and please be sure to subscribe if you are interested in all things sewing and fashion, because I will still be uploading and posting videos like this for anyone who is interested in fashion as well. So let's go ahead and get into today's video. Again, please subscribe, write a comment down below. I would really love all your support. Let's get going. Okay, you guys, so the first step, I am creating the pattern. I am just draping it on my dress form. I'm draping the bodice, and then the pants I am going to draft with my sloper. So yeah, I got my front seam right here. Got the sleeves. I already took off the back because now I am going to transfer it to paper. As soon as I am done draping my design onto my dress form, I'm going to go ahead and transfer it to paper like I'm doing here. If you'd like to see what tools and rulers that I use for pattern making, I will link a video right above here. Please be sure to check that out if you are interested. And I will be making a separate video to teach you guys on how to drape your design on your dress form. Now that I am done draping Emily's, I am now going to work on Andrea's design. Okay guys, I am back at my place. I went ahead and did a fitting with Andrea, and I made the changes to the pattern. I went ahead and sewed up the bodice, so this is how this is looking like. It's already looking so much better on the dress form. I have this, it's a French dart where it goes from the side bust and then down. Those are usually pretty tricky to do, but it looks so good on her, so I'm so happy that turned out really great. And then I just now need to sew the pants and the sleeve. Also, I got a new table. It is a kind of a bigger dining table, so I can actually cut out my patterns and all my work on the table and have enough room instead of putting it on my clean rug. So that's an upgrade from there. Also, I got these little mics so you can hear me better. I also got these mics because I am starting a designer podcast. It's called Designer Made. So I'll talk more about that later. And here's like so I got two of them. I just hook them up to my camera, aka my phone. But yeah, more on that later. I still need to set an appointment for the first fitting with Emily, my other influencer. And yeah, so far so good. It's turning out great. And I'm so sorry the lighting is like terrible in here. I feel like when it gets more into fall and winter, the sewing room gets kind of dim, but no worries, we'll figure it out. Okay, so now I'm gonna sew on the sleeve to the bodice. Here's the sleeve, and I know it looks so looks weird. It looks a lot bigger because like you can see the markings how the original sleeve looks like right here. But the reason why this sleeve is a lot fuller is because it goes, so here's the sketch again for the jumpsuit, and this is for Andrea's piece. But the sleeve like curves more into the, sorry, I'm like wearing black. It like curves more into the neckline. So that's why the sleeve is going to be a lot fuller. But yeah, I'm excited for this piece. She's going to love it. So here's that again. I'm gonna go ahead and sew that. Okay, you guys, I went ahead and sewed the bodice together. I sewed around the sleeve, but it didn't quite fit the way that I want it to, so I'll have to add some more seam allowance so it will fit. It did fit on Andrea, but I'm just going to add more just to be safe. I went ahead and marked where my seam allowance is, the 1/2 inch, and then from the sleeve, I'll go ahead and add another, I don't know, I'm thinking maybe like an extra inch just to be safe, so that way when we do the fitting again for the second fitting I can adjust it then. But yeah, other than that, so far doing good. I went ahead and added some more fabric onto my sleeve pattern piece, and just to save fabric on some muslin, I just went ahead and just made a little, cut out a little piece from my extra scraps and then stitched it on. Now I'm going to go ahead and attempt the second time to sew on my bodice. Alright, you guys, I went ahead, finished the sleeve, finished the collar. I took in a little bit on the seam right here where the shoulder is. I have this fun design where here's a shoulder seam and then there's 2 right here. I'm going to do some top stitching designs to it. I fixed the collar so that way it fits, it's a lot more tailored. Tip and trick for all of my designer friends or people who are self-teaching themselves is when you are adjusting a pattern and you're draping it on a dress form, it's really helpful that you have a mirror. That way when you're working on the front or or the back, you can then see the opposite side, and that will help you create your pattern a lot better. And then be sure to back up like I'm doing here so you are able to see how it's draping. Yeah, I'm really excited for this. I cannot wait to see this on Andrea, and same with the other design. I cannot wait to see on Emily. Now I'm going to go ahead and work on the pants. This is my guard cat. This is my guard kitty. This is Callie. Oh, hello, Callie. Oh, big stretch. Okay, next step, I am working on the pants now. I'm just marking the darts and seam allowance, and then I will sew the pants together. And then another tip and trick. So it's very helpful when you mark all of your patterns. As you see, I have the dart here, and then I put CB for center back, and then I'll put CF on the front pieces for center front, and then I have my seam allowance, 1 inch, 2 inch, 1 inch waist. So much easier to sew that way, especially when it comes to the pants. And then Princess, she's in her little bed. making my pattern, putting all the marks on it for the pants, guess who decided to jump on my lap? Miss Calico! Miss Calico Cat! She loves her head rubs. Do you love your head rubs? Miss Calico Cat. I went ahead and I am trying on Andrea's second fitting sample. Luckily, her and I are similar in fit. I'm still gonna schedule a second fitting with her just to make sure that it fits custom to her because I want it to be absolutely perfect. But yeah, so far so good. I love how the darts are fitting on the pants. Bodice is nice. Sleeve is fitting nice. The collar, and then it's gonna zip up in front, and then I'm going to do some stitch detailing. You can't really see because of the muslin, but there's like the blockage of the sleeve detailing right here. But yeah, I cannot wait to show Andrea, and I cannot wait for you guys to see it until it's completely done. So yeah, work in progress. Okay guys, now at this point of the video, I have finished a fitting with both Emily and Andrea. Now with the markings that was on the first muslin sample that I've made, I'm going to add that to my muslin pattern. So in this part of the video, I will teach you how to properly label your pattern and how to add those correct markings to change your pattern to the correct size. Other than that, the fitting is going great, and I just need to make some minor changes. One more thing I would like to mention is that when you are creating a design or a garment, depending on how intricate the design is, it could take up to multiple fittings. So don't feel like you're doing something wrong. It does take some time to get the right fit, especially if it is a custom piece. My advice when you are doing a fitting is to start on, work your way from the top to the bottom, so from the shoulders all the way down. This will help any fitting mistakes. I will make a separate video on how to make or how to properly fit someone with your or yourself with your muslin fitting. So that will be in a separate video. As soon as that video is complete, I will link it down below. Again, I do want to let you guys know I am working on a Patreon that will teach you everything that I have learned in school where I was getting my degree in fashion design and merchandising and technical apparel. So I'll put that down below if you are interested in learning. This will be an affordable expense to you guys, especially if you are self-teaching yourself. I would love to be your resource. Anyway, let's go ahead and finish the video. Let's finish sewing. Okay, so here is Emily's bodice. What I have done before we did the fitting is I felt like the bodice, the center front was going to be way too baggy. So I sewed in a quarter, so like total like about half of an inch down the center front. And because it fit that way, I went ahead and I grabbed my pencil, and this is just a tip and trick when you are adding your correct markings to your new pattern is so this was sewn together, and then with my pencil I just marked it back and forth, and then now I'm going to go ahead and cut where the bodice needs to be, and then I'll lay it on my pattern. It goes this way. I'll lay it on my pattern to make sure it is the same size as the muslin fit, because the muslin fit perfectly. So that's a little tip and trick on how to mark your patterns when you're doing a fitting. So now that I have unpicked my bodice, because it's gonna, if you unpick your bodice after you add your, correct markings and everything, you want to unpick it, which I've done so here. So these markings over here, I noticed that you want to always have an inch to pin when you're doing fittings, and I kind of noticed these little markings. I was kind of going off trail a little bit. So I went ahead, I measured this measurement, split it in half, which is about 1/2 inch. So split it in half and add it in between my front and my back. So this is my front, this is my back. And then this line right here is going to be the correct seam allowance. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to unpick this dart, lay it completely flat, and then I'm going to get my tracing wheel and then trace over it. Okay, so I went ahead and I unpicked my muslin fitting, and then I used my iron to flatten out my muslin and my pattern. Now that I have all my appropriate pencil markings, or markings on what I'm going to edit and add on to this, I went ahead and let's lay this out flat. I have my tracing wheel, and then the new markings were just right here on that side seam. And then this is the back pattern piece, by the way. And I'm just gonna go ahead, use my tracing wheel to trace over the markings. And then I already have the dart and where that back zipper on my design is gonna go. And then now I see the markings perfectly well. Now I'm gonna go ahead, use my ruler. Here, maybe I'll do it this way, might be easier. I'm gonna go ahead and use my ruler and then add the appropriate change. And then usually in the industry, what they do to either erase or get rid of the old marking for the side seam, or whatever marking it is that you need to change, you could erase it, or to remind yourself what it used to be is you can just scribble it out, so that way you still have that marking there just in case. So I'm just gonna lightly just kind of like add little lines and scribble it out. Let's see if you can see that. Now to label your pattern, what you're gonna do is since this is the back pattern piece, I'm going to add center back, so that way I know this is the center back. And then personally for me, I put zipper right here just to remind myself, like, this is where the back zipper is going to be sewn. And then I'm going to put 1 inch. I'm still doing a fitting with Emily, so I'm still going to leave this center back as to 1 inch seam allowance. By the very end of our next fitting, I think she just really needs one more fitting. So at the end of that fitting, I'll go ahead and change that for what the zipper needs. But on how to label your pattern, what you're gonna do is write what it is. So this is my design is a jumper. Well, actually, sorry, let's do this. This is a back woman's jumper. Let's see here. My mind's going blank. I need to cut 2. The seam allowance, I'm gonna leave that blank just because I still am doing fittings, but for the most part you would do like 5/8 to 1/2 inch, but that's really your preference on what you want your seam allowance to go. But I would still label what your seam allowance is, just in case. And then this is going to be a size, I give this a size 6. So then I'd write your size, and then where I want, and then you're gonna add your grain line. So try to make this as straight as you possibly can. Grain line. So there's your grain line marking. And then I also have straps on this, because if you see right here, I added a little, well, right here. I added a little notch when I did the fitting. So let me go ahead and lay this back down and double check where that notch is at. So it looks like that notch is going to be right here. So, and you definitely want to make sure you add all your notches. And then this notch is going to be for where the sleeve is, or not the sleeve, sorry, where the strap, there's the front, where's the back? Here's the back pattern piece. I haven't ironed it, got kind of smashed. But this is where that back strap is going to be. So my notch is right here, this goes right here. So, and then if you want, you could put where it's gonna end, so about right there. So it's really important to add your notches so you know where everything is going to go when you sew it. But that's pretty much how you mark your pattern. This can really be any order that you want it to be, especially if you're just having it for yourself. And then I'm gonna go ahead and mark and label all my other patterns, iron them. Okay guys, one more thing I actually forgot to mention is since I changed the size of the side seam, because if you see here, I had to add a little bit more length at the bottom, or a little bit more room. So up here, it's still at 1 inch, but then down here it gets smaller. When you're still doing fittings, you still want to leave enough room to work with. So I'll have to make it an even 1 inch. And how you do that is you're gonna need some glue. This is my favorite kind of glue. I got this at, where did I get this? You know what? You can get this at the dollar store or any just kind of like grocery store, I'm sure. I forget which brand this is called, but it's the one with the pink, orange, and yellow on the side and labeling. So, and what you can also use is some tape, just some clear tape to tape it down. But I'm just going to use the glue for now. So I have this like extra scrap piece of paper. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue my paper. And then I'm just going to go ahead and add that. Also, what drives me nuts, if you end up taping it with some clear tape, make sure you erase all the markings that you don't want. Well, your tape is going to cover it, and then you can't like, you can't erase it because your tape is on top. But anywho, so I'm now going to make this, or yeah, I'm going to go ahead and make this into that inch that we need, so we still have room to work with. So let me fix it here and here, and then I'll just go ahead, cut this piece off, use my scissors. And cut this off. Perfect. And then so now I have 1 inch still to work with since I'm still doing fittings. Now, if I was completely done with my fittings and I felt comfortable with the final fit and that everything looks good, then instead of having this be 1 inch, I would just turn it into the seam allowance that I want it to be. Like 1/2 inch or 5/8 is usually the preferred inch. But I'm just going to leave it for now because I'm going to sew up another muslin fit to double check everything for our second fitting. So yeah, and then I'm going to add 1 inch here. Okay, perfect. Now that it's done, that should be everything. I'll go ahead and mark all of the other pattern pieces, and then I'll sew up my second muslin fit. Okay guys, I just wanted to show, now that I did the back on what I just did, what I just showed you guys, let me actually show you just a quick little rundown on the front now. Really quick, so this is a French dart. Now, I went ahead and changed my markings because as you see right here's the old one. I'm going to scribble that out. So this is the old one. I changed where the seam allowance is going now right here. And then I added some more length because I still want this to be 1 inch since we're still doing a fitting. And then for the dart is going to be fold it that way towards the center front. And then for the front pattern, you want to add center front on the top corner, and you always add center front or center back in this top corner where the center is, obviously. And then to fold the pattern, really quick, I added some more paper right here just because I'm going to show you how I added, a little bit, how that inch, that seam allowance. But how I went ahead and folded it is you put your fingernail right here. You're going to go ahead and pinch this, fold that, or you can do up here. So I didn't fold this quite yet. So fold that, put your other fingernail right here, and then, oh, wrong direction. We're going to do this direction. So I go ahead, fold that, put my fingernail right here, and then fold up like that. Fold that down. Make sure that this is completely straight. And then you'll want to get your tracing wheel to trace only on where you just folded your dart. So that way when you open it, you can see where the correct markings are. And then now to add that inch that I need, since I'm still doing a fitting, I'll make this straight. So the inch is right here where you're gonna sew that seam. I'm gonna add that right here to make sure it's completely straight. And then now I can go ahead and cut this. So I'm gonna cut this off. Perfect. Now, when I place it on my fabric, I have exactly 1 inch, 1 inch, and 1 inch. So I'll label that. I'll just put 1 inch, 1 inch, an inch. Okay. So I will change that seam allowance later when I feel like we are done with all the fittings. And then I actually went ahead and I changed the neckline on this, and I feel comfortable with how this is fitting, so I went ahead and just changed it to 1/2 inch seam allowance. And then I added my grain line, and then this right here, since I'm cutting on center fold, you'll write cut on center fold, and then you want to do this little labeling. It's like a little blocking. You write the front, jumpsuit, size. I just did Emily Tencer custom, since it's a custom piece for her. Cut 1, seam allowance. So that's just a quick rundown on the front, and I will continue with the other pieces. All right, I went ahead and I adjusted the pants. All I did was added a little bit more room just on the side seam, and the way how I calculated that was on the back needed 1 5/8 inches out, and then on the front needed 2. So then I did the math to, split that so that way it goes all the way around the waistline. So then I got 3.5, and then, divided that by 4, and I got 7/8. So then I put 7/8 on the back, so then it'll have 7/8 on the left and right. And then same with the front, left and right on the front as well. So that way it gives the whole circumference. Now I'm going to go ahead and sew this muslin up. Another tip and trick, if you guys would like to learn or know, is whenever I'm pinning my pattern to the fabric, is I like to pin the top inside, so that way, I don't end up running into the pin and hurting myself. So that's been really helpful. All right, here's the finish muslin fit of Emily's jumpsuit. We'll have flowy fitted pants, and then just a basic top. In the back, it will tie up into a bow, just like the illustration. Yeah, super excited for this. She's gonna love it. Right now, still deciding on the fabric. Let me show you the swatches. And here is Andrea's jumper sample. We will have a straight leg. I'll have pockets near the waist and a little bit more detailing in the sleeve, like top stitching and such. Super excited for these jumpsuits to be completely done and on them. Let me go ahead and show you the fabric samples. Okay, so here are the fabric swatches I'm thinking about. These two are from Cali Fabrics. We have a matte coated twill fabric and then a water resistant. This one's the water resistant one, I believe. It definitely feels like denim, but maybe with a little more poly in it. And then this one's definitely a matted twill. So I don't know, I want something with a little bit more shine, so I really like this one. And then my other idea, this one is from Fabric Wholesale District. This is just a regular black denim. And then for Emily, I'm either thinking of this Julian brush twill or this Mason twill black. So I want Emily's to have a little bit more drape. This definitely feels like it's a little bit thicker. And then this one definitely feels a little bit thinner. I think I like this one. And then here, what is this? Oh yeah, this one's for a different project. But here's a scuba knit. I've been trying to look for other scubas, but that's for a different project. Anyway, here's some ideas. I'm definitely going to meet up with them later and see what they think. But let me know in the comments, what do you think? What do you like for Andrea's and Emily? Should I use this one? This one is the matted twill. Or I have this one. This one is the water resistant. Or should I go with this regular denim for Andrea's? And then for Emily's, which one should I use? Should I use the Julian brush twill or the Mason twill? Let me know in the comments what you think. Okay, you guys, that will be it for today's video. I will show the final designs in the next video, so please stay tuned. If you guys have any questions or concerns about fitting or pattern making, write a comment for me down below. And again, please subscribe if you haven't already, especially if you're interested in all things sewing, fashion, and design. And if you would love to see more of my work, I would love the support. I would love to help in any way that I can. And then if you have maybe like a bigger question for me, you can go ahead and email me. I'll put my email down below. And if you're interested in any of my designs or work, and if you're interested in learning more of my work, I will link the Patreon and my website down below as well. In the meantime, I am working on a new collection for 2024. More updates on that. I hope you guys are being safe and have a fun and happy new year, and we will see you in the new year. Thanks, you guys. Stay creative.